Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to TalkSports. It is our Saturday sports program. It is our weekend program where we discuss lots of things and speak with the movers and shakers in sports, the sportsmen, sportswomen, sports administrators, just about everyone who involved in sports. It is our first program for 2025, so Happy New Year to one and all. And yes, it is another year, and we're hoping to be a very successful year as well. So we decided to start with no other person than a very successful man, Mr. Mike Sands. It's the president of NACAC, North American, Central American, and Caribbean Athletic Association. And Mr. Mike Sands is no stranger to our program. And he always brings lots of insights into not just track and field or athletics, as we say, but sports in general. We always welcome and appreciate his wisdom in sports administration. Okay. And I think he's a beacon for sports administrator in the region. So we say welcome to Mr. Mike Sands, welcome to Mr. Rudian Sylvan, our co-host in Toronto, Canada, and to all those who are joining us from wherever you are. I say welcome to you, one and all. Let me add my guest on the program, Mr. Mike Sands in Nassau, Bahamas, and Mr. Rudian Sylvan in Toronto. Good morning to you, Mr. Mike Sands.
Good morning to you, good morning to your guest, good morning to your host, and good morning to all those on the listening audience. It's always a pleasure to join you, and I want to say Happy New Year to each and every one in the sound of our voices, and I wish them every success in their endeavors for 2025 and good health.
Okay. Rudian?
Certainly, and a Happy New Year to you, Mr. Sams. Michael, I'm extending a Happy New Year to you again. All the best for 2025, and we just do hope that 2025 will be better than 2024. Also to the guests, the listeners, the movers and shakers of sports who've been with us over the past few years, Happy New Year to you guys.
Right. Thank you very much. And as we say, let's kick off with Mr. Sands. And Mr. Sands, as I say, we ended 2024 a very successful year again for NACAC. And as you said in your New Year's message, NACAC remains one of the most best performing area association in terms of track and field, and we have a lot to talk about because we are hoping that as we always say, NACAC gets its dues, but let's, in a nutshell, let's talk about 2024 and the achievements of NACAC for 2024, not just on the field but off the field as well. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's always, as I always say, right? No credit goes to me per se, but I'm just very happy and proud to be leading this organization that have the best athletes and the best coaches and the best administrators by far. And so the testament and the congratulation obviously goes out to all those persons that contributed to the success. Of course, it culminated at the end of the day with the granddaddy of them all, which was the Olympic Games. And as you would know from the results, you'd have seen the NACAC athletes' areas performances throughout the entire games, world records such as Cindy McLaughlin, some surprises such as athlete Stone from Jamaica with his discus gold medal, the first for Jamaica. As you know, that event is normally European centric or otherwise, and so here again we had a little NACAC area athletes coming in and doing what they do best, performing at the time when it counts. And then, Mike, who can forget the performances of Julian Alfred and, of course, Thea Lafon, the two little small island nations that are just a speck on the global world map, but at the end of the day, they've made their presence known for the betterment of our sport and, of course, making their nations proud. And those are just a few of the on-the-field performances from individual athletes. Of course, I have to give special thanks and commendation to Grenada and the administration of Grenada, the government of Grenada, the administrators of our sport in Grenada, for taking on our premier junior event, which is the Crafty Games, and doing a wonderful job. And I have to say, maybe I'm a little partial and I shouldn't say it, but Grenada happens to be one of my favorite island nations, notwithstanding my coming from the Bahamas. But the performance of the Grenadian administration the support of the government, and of course the fan support and the fan base continues to make Grifter Games one of our most favored events because of the fan engagement and the stage that it creates for our junior athletes to move to the next level. And then there was the Bahamas hosting of the World Relays as well. We can't forget that. I mean, that's a monumental task. I think it's been the third or fourth time that the Bahamas would have hosted the World Relays, and that is truly a world event where we come together and the qualifiers for the Olympic Games. So that was a very, very exciting event for the Bahamas. And then off the field, and we can probably go into it a little bit more, but we had a gender leadership workshop that took place here in the Bahamas. We had some 21 member federations that were represented. Then, of course, we had coaches workshop. We had kids athletics workshop, which train the trainers. And, we can delve into that a little bit more, the basis of kids athletics that is so important for us, and coaching education as well as official education. And so we try to continue doing those things because we don't just want to, as you said, right, be on the field performance. We also want to be great administrators. We also want to be good coaches, and the gender equality and the safeguarding task force. Those are all things that we are working on simultaneously behind the scenes. And so while we perform on the field of play, we also try to make our mark off the field of play as well. And so I can pause there for a moment if you wish.
Yeah, well, certainly, Mr. Sands, quite a bit for NACAC in itself, even though, as we always say, that it's still hoping that NACAC will get its full dues, from the International Federation, because they're doing quite a bit. I mean, when you look at the performance, and as you rightly said, just looking at Paris, and we can go back, to other major events, whether it's world championships and whatever, and NACAC is always, could you imagine a world championships without NACAC's membership? Olympic Games without NACAC in terms of track and field? Could you imagine that?
Well, and this is just the point I make, Mike. We go together and we make a statement. At the end of the day, while we may be sitting in the stands at the Olympic Games as individual nations and countries, right? If the Bahamas is not competing, if Grenada is competing, we're rooting for Grenada. Then, matter of fact, we are NACAC. And that's the phrase that we have. My alma mater, I won't call the name, but I'm sure when you hear it, the phrase is "we are." We are.
Yeah.
You know what it goes to the end of that, right? Well, we are NACAC, and so we are all proud to be. As a matter of fact, I said to Jamaica during my early campaign in this event, I said, I'm going to paraphrase and steal part of your phrase. Jamaica says, out of many, one people. Well, out of many, one NACAC. So we are NACAC.
Yeah, certainly. And looking forward to 2025. Certainly, I mean, just looking at the calendar alone says that lots in store for NACAC for 2025. And Mike, I really wondering how we'll be able to pull off all these activities. Something we'll have to discuss, further, but so many things in store. And by the way, and it's not just track and field, but in itself, competition, but you have all the development programs, the personal development programs, those for coaches and administrators and all these things, probably a holistic sort of things for 2025. But if you have to go back to 2024, Mike, you mentioned the Julian Alfred and LaForde in Dominica and, and other. I'm probably putting you on the spot, but what event or activity or performance you will see really crowned, the real performance of NACAC in 2024? Even if you have to probably put, probably two together. I know I'm putting you on the spot,
Yeah, what you're asking me is like a parent, which one of your children is the favorite?
Yeah.
But Mike, all the performances are so highly rated. I, as a former athlete, I sat in that stadium in Paris, and I put myself for a moment in Julian Alfred's shoe. As a young lady coming from a little dot on, and recognizing the immense pressure that was behind her, and the most critical phase of an athlete's life. You almost feel like you're being led to the slaughterhouse when you're standing behind the blocks and the starter says, "On your marks." Mike, trust me when I tell you, right? You have to have a nerve of steel to not break down, especially when you're carrying the weight of your country on your shoulder. And this goes for all of the athletes, right? But then to be able to live up to that expectation, all right? I mean, I think that has to be the crowning glory, certainly for us. But as I said, I cannot dismiss that Stone's discus gold medal and Olympic record performance as well. So when I put those all together, they're almost kind of coming out equal because they were gold medal performances under immense pressure. Not that the Olympic Games isn't pressure, mind you, but I'm saying when you take it in this perspective and you see the end result and how they were able to withstand the amazing pressure that went down, during the course of those events and the preparation phase and the expectation from the world.
Mm-hmm. And then we have so many other islands members, getting medals itself. It may not just be the goal, but for example, we have Grenada, we have St. Vincent who almost got a medal. Sophia Maloney, for example. So we've seen improved performances all wrong. That too, for you, is very commendable, Mike.
And this is why I said it goes back to the coaching. The playing field. I wouldn't say level, but certainly our small island nations are coming to the forefront. They're taking advantage of the opportunities that are being presented to them from the athletic side of things, and also give them the opportunity to get a good education. And so there's a whole mixture that goes into the success of it. And that's why sometimes I said I feel guilty having to try to take the credit. And so I just have to put on a disclaimer to say I'm proud to be associated with the group of young people, the athletes, the administrators, and all those that make NACAC the success that it is today. And I'm just happy to be able to help to steer the ship along with the supporting staff and the crew that we have. I'm talking about the administrators, the executive council members, and otherwise. And let me hasten to add, you talk about a whole lot of work that we have. Yes, we do, right? But this is also why we have appointed various commissions that assist with the work in terms of identifying opportunities and sort of bringing it to the forefront. I mean, as I indicated to you some time back, we have the competitions commission. So obviously I wouldn't do this by myself. We have the gender leadership. We have the task force, which is a very, very new commission, that working group that we can speak about in a little bit. And so at the end of the day, there are working groups and commissions that meet frequently and make their recommendations. And so it makes the load a little bit lighter, and we're able to identify opportunities out there. And when we say we're going to do something, we have the competition commission that is headed by Michael Sorrelto, for example. Then there's the development commission. So everyone is playing their part.
Yeah. Before I put you on, Rudian, let me just say good morning to Gordon. Happy New Year to all, and greetings to your guest, Mr. Sands, and also to Edwin Sam in New Jersey. Good morning to you, Mr. Edwin, and Happy New Year to you as well. Rudian?
Yeah, Mr. Sands, the one event, and Michael asked you the question, I'm sitting here thinking, over the years, we have seen a lot of performance from the Caribbean, from the NACAC region in those 100 meters, 200 meters, and so forth. But the one event that really captured me was the triple jump, the women triple jump, because all three was NACAC.
Top three finishers.
Top three finishers was NACAC. We have Dominica, Jamaica, and the United States. And we have never seen this before, because you know that the NACAC, or even the NACAC, have never won that event. I've never did. So that was a great performance for me. But my question is going ahead. to 2028. Due to what, as the president, is there any discussion that reached your table so far concerning the fire in Los Angeles?
The fire in Los, no, you said we're going to 2028 and the fire in Los Angeles.
No, I'm saying I'm going ahead. I'm thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Due to the fire, have there been any discussion what 2028 is going to be like?
Honestly, not really. I mean, everybody looks forward to it. But at the end of the day, you know, we try to focus on the here and now and not lose sight of what needs to happen or what will happen in 2028 because we cannot predict it. But it doesn't mean that it's not in the long range plan, but it's not on the front burner at the moment. There's some major obstacles that we have to overcome, particularly in the next several months and, if you will, actually in the next several years. And so, no, we haven't really focused on Los Angeles at this juncture. But I can tell you, if I say this much, right, the future for NACAC is in good hands. When you look at the average age of our young athletes that are coming up, I think 4 years, we're going to see a number of them that are going to be in their prime. And so I think the performance of NACAC overall will continue unabated.
And what NACAC plan for the year in terms of competition for 2025?
Well, there's a lot of competition, a number of competitions that we have there. And if I will, for example, we have the Kadika. We have a tendency to sometimes forget, and I say we, I mean just not me per se, but in general, our area consists of North America, Central America, and the Caribbean. And so when you hear me speak of Kadika, that is the Central American membership. That's about 4 or 5, 7 members. That includes Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Belize, and several others. Right? They have events every year. As a matter of fact, and I make effort to go ahead and attend those events as well, right? Because they are a major part of our family. So they have several events this year that includes the under 18, under 20 championship. They also have the under 13, under 15 championships from Central America specifically. That's geared towards. But then when you talk about the NACAC events, as I indicated earlier, there's the Carifta Games. There's our area championship, which is our major event. Then there's the NACAC combined events that are scheduled. And then there's the NACAC under 13, under 15 events that are scheduled. So there are about 7 or 8 major competitions that come directly under the purview of NACAC. There's also collaboration with Pan Am Sports and APA, where there's events like the Pan Am Under 20 Championships, as well as Pan Am Cross Country. So that's inclusive of all of us. Just for clarity, as you would know, right? There's NACAC, and then there's Concidad, which is South America. So there's 6 of we are one of the 6 area associations, Concidad, South America being the other. And so their events are different from ours, but there are times when they are combined when you speak of the Pan-American. And in this case, then there's collaboration between ourselves and them, including competitions department, where there's collaboration with respect to the schedule and other technical aspects, where we, put our heads together to come up with the best for the event itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mike, a lot of times we have a lot of focus on, sometimes the English-speaking Caribbean, but in your message, you mentioned of, the Dominican Republic, for example, that 400 meters, was it the gold medal, I think?
Yes.
Paulino?
Paulino, yes.
Yeah, Paulino, which by all standards is, very historic, I would say. And then we also had the discus, I think, from Jamaica, stones from Jamaica.
Yes.
So overall, Mike, how do you find it challenging when you have to, it's not like, let's say Europe, for example, or even Africa, where, transportation is not so much an issue. We know transportation is a big issue in the Caribbean. How do you manage as NACAC to, ensure that all our member federations, for example, are on even page when they have all these challenges they face, whether to attend, championships, whatever it is like that. So, for example, we know how challenging it is probably for those in the north to come down to the south or vice versa and these sort of things. When you're planning these activities, what do you have in mind? How do you meet with and discuss with your exco or your other member federations in terms of the challenges they do face?
Well, Mike, this is why the work, the assignment is always so exciting, because as you indicated, there's challenges. There's always challenges. There's the multi-language challenge, the French and the Spanish,
yeah,
the English. Right, there's that challenge. Then there's the geographic challenge, right?
Right.
And I love it. I love it simply because it causes you to stay on the edge of things, right? But I'm smiling to myself because when you talk about the be able to bring it all together, we sit down and we do have these debates, right? And I think it's appropriate for me now to say here and now that particularly when you have these events and it is not easy to get to those destinations, I want to take this opportunity to first and foremost to congratulate and show my appreciation to Bahamas Air, the National Airline of the Bahamas, that without hesitation usually steps in. As you may recall, when we did Crafty here a few years ago, they stepped in and we sort of did some circles throughout the Caribbean, identifying 1 or 2 spots that is easier for persons to get to. And of course, then Bahamas Air moved them out into Nassau for the Crafty Games. I want to congratulate for that. But by the same token, I also now want to congratulate CAL, Caribbean Airlines, right? And I'm saying this now, I don't know if it's been officially announced, but if it isn't, it will be. That CAL is now on board with us for the Caribbean Games that will be held in Jamaica. I had a discussion with CAL
in Trinidad?
Yes.
In Trinidad.
Yes, in Trinidad. Sorry, in Trinidad. Caribbean Games will be held in Trinidad on the Easter weekend. I was able to join in on the first meeting, and I have subsequent meetings with the leadership of CAL, the charter division, the group division. And so they have come on board in a very, very meaningful way, that we are collaborating as to how they can assist us with the ease of movement and at the same time attractive fares for the membership to be able to get into Trinidad for the Crafty Games. And I smile because this is the kind of support that we need. And Michael, you and I have these discussions, off here on different occasions, right? For example, the airlines, I think you led me into this, but it's okay. The airlines, we have national airlines that are owned by the governments of our area, okay? Certainly in a substantive way, if not all of it, right? And I'm saying at the end of the day, and I was not as successful as I would like to be thus far, but we need sports, not just track and field. We need sports to become a CARICOM issue, a CARICOM discussion, okay? Because at the end of the day, we need to find ways to incentivize, motivate our young people to become involved, okay, so that they can really lead productive lives, all right? And so when you have the corporate Caribbean, the corporate NACAC that comes on board, such as the CAL, such as the Bahamas Air, right? It makes it easier, certainly for the administrative perspective, to be able to move our athletes so they can have the opportunity to compete. And so I kind of cringe when I see or hear that maybe more focus is being put on cricket as a grouping. And I'm not saying, and please don't misunderstand what I'm saying, right? I'm not suggesting otherwise. All I'm saying is I think those discussions need to be more inclusive of what can we as CARICOM do to support what is happening in our area in the world of sports, and what is the benefit to sports to our young people in general, and the benefit to the nations that are involved as well.
Well said, Mike.
Sure.
Well said. You'll have to come.
Yeah.
But the involvement of CAL does not in any way negate the sort of cooperation you have with Bahamas Air, though.
No. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, and by the way, yesterday was a holiday in the Bahamas for some of us. But I was on to Cal yesterday and also on to Bahamas. Yeah. But it's a unique situation because, and I think it's a story that needs to be told more than it really is. In fairness to the Bahamas and the Bahamas government, for years, the Bahamas government has provided the aircraft for Team Bahamas to travel anywhere in the Caribbean, particularly Caribbean Games, both track and field and swimming. And in this instance, swimming will also be taking place simultaneously in Trinidad during the Caribbean weekend. So Trinidad is going to be a buzz with activities for Caribbean swimming and athletics. And so Bahamas, as a national line, mandated, plays its role. And I only wish I could get the other heads of countries to understand the significant role that Bahamas had. So at the end of the day, Team Bahamas doesn't have to be stressed about how we're going to get there and what is the cost. And then also, like I said, normally if Bahamas is in the area at a cost, at a discounted cost, we discuss with the member federations, okay, we'll meet in Antigua, or how many person can get X, Y, Z, and then they take you out and they bring you down. We have, in the past, when we're on our way down, we have stopped and we pick up our dear friends, our Sister Isle, Jamaica. We have picked up their team and taken them to Costa Rica or take them elsewhere. And so this is the kind of collaboration and sport and an investment that we have to have for our area.
Yeah, because I recall even last year, I almost say this year, the Jamaicans, some of them left with Bahamas Air from Grenada, right?
Yes.
They left with, I saw them boarding the Bahamas Air flight. In fact, you had 2 aircraft actually in Grenada,
But that is right. That's the team. That's the family and friends. I mean, and
the junk canoe.
And you mentioned earlier, you said, what would the Olympics or the World Championship be like without NACAC? But just imagine what Caribbean would be like without junk canoe. Just be a regular track meet.
Yeah. I saw. I always recall even one of our junior ministers. He was actually in the junk canoe band in Grenada. He joined it actually in Grenada. I actually had a video of him joining that. He enjoyed himself, and things like that. So, but definitely we're looking forward to Caribbean Games 2025 in Port of Spain, Hazley Crawford Stadium in Trinidad. And as you said, the good thing about it is that we have both the Caribbean Games and the Caribbean Swimming taking place in Trinidad simultaneously. So you probably will find more participation because it means, therefore, that some of the islands will say, hey, if we have swimming and we have track and field, then we probably can get larger numbers. We probably have movements. You might even see some activities in terms of the airlines, which you have been making an appeal for more of the airlines, whether it's Liat, Inter-Caribbean. We have so many of them, they can come on board and show, because it's all about most times people do not go to the Caribbean Games or whether it's Caribbean track and field or swimming. The issue has to do most times with air transportation.
Yes.
Not so much.
Sorry.
I'm saying not so much accommodation. So most people, because some people will get there and then they will find a friend or family member who they can stay with. Air transportation normally be that sticking point, Mike.
And it's very much so, particularly during the period that Caribbean is held, which is the Easter weekend. It's compounded by that fact. But that's a situation where in the foreseeable future, I see Caribbean remaining at that point, because at that same time frame, because it was put to the Congress membership more than once whether or not they would wish to consider having the Caribbean Games moved away from that particular period, and the answer was a resounding no. So I will not be putting it back on the table. We will stay where we are with Caribbean during the Easter weekend, and it has a lot of pluses to it. So I leave that there for the time being.
Rudy, and I know you're smiling because you're one who have been always asking for Caribbean Games to be moved. So you heard that? No,
certainly.
Member Federation said no. Mike, in your speech, for the New Year's, there are 2 things that I want you to elaborate on. The first one has to do with the NACAC Athletics Area Championships. You talk about the area championships are sort of newly reimaged. You spoke about increased investments in marketing, the enhance the quality of competitions, and also strengthening athletes' voices in decision making. Elaborate more on these, please, Mike.
Okay, I'll take the last one first. The athletes are the primary stakeholders. We have got an athletes commission that is chaired by Odin Richards, I think his last name is. He is from Jamaica, discus shot put thrower. And so we've got a cross section of athletes commission. The athletes commission has a seat and a voice at the executive table. So he is a part of all of our meetings. He brings the concerns, the voices of the athletes, so the athletes are not hearing it secondhand or having to guess it. If there's something going on, we want to do a survey. We go to the athletes commission to get the input. They have their regular meetings. As a matter of fact, on occasions, I would have been able to join the meeting with them. I don't remember all the names of the persons, but I can tell you for sure that there's J.U. Gordon from Trinidad that is also a part, who now is the general secretary for the Trinidad Athletic Association. And so the athletes' voices, must be heard. We are the stakeholders. I mean, they are the major stakeholders. And so we work on their behalf. And so I make no qualms about having them fully engaged. And it's in tandem with, they have also formed a connection and relationship with World Athletics Athletes Commission that also has 2 members from the Athletes Commission that sits at the council and brings the athletes' concern to the table. So that is where we are with that. And so they will and they do have a voice because their opinions matters. And so that is basically what I refer to when I speak of the athletes' voices. With respect to the area championship, there has to be and there is a refocus on how do we present our area championship. When we talked about marketing, we have just recently engaged, and I'm saying recently, they have just started their work, engage a marketing firm that is going to be assisting us with the reimaging, helping us tell our story, and that's equally as important, right? Finances, Mike, and this is my sore point too, because you referred to it early on, right? But at the end of the day, we have what we have, and so we have to make do with what we have and find independent source of funding. And so there's a full focus on that aspect of it, because all roads lead to our ability to do things from a financial perspective. And saying that, for example, we have to refocus how we present the area championship, how we make the area championship attractive to our top athletes. And I look at things different ways sometimes. Sometimes the glass is half empty or half full. I always see this half full, because at the end of the day, we want to have our top area athletes participate. When you look at Europe, for example, the European Championships, why can't we equal in relative terms the how Europe puts on their area championship? We intend to do that. We're focusing. And the resources, the limited financial resources that we have to realign our budget to be able to put on an area championship to the quality of the athletes that we have performing in our area, to make it attractive to them, and so that they would want NACAC would be the primary event on their calendar. And so we've started the process by offering prize money. Now, in the scheme of things, it ain't much. I mean, it really ain't much. When you look at some of the events that are taking place now, where athletes are going to get as much as $40,000 to participate, our little pocketbook would not allow us to do that. But hopefully, with this new trust that we're focusing on, new investments in our marketing to enhance the quality of the competition, it is our hope that it would resonate with our athletes. And sometimes there has to be a little give and take too. To the extent to which that the area made you the athlete, right? I mean, whether you started Carifta Games or the age group championship, which a lot of them did, and you now made it to the world stage. Sometimes you have to give a little VIK. Come back and say, okay, Mike, we know that NACAC don't have it, but we believe that the sport has been good to us, and so let us do something to help the sport that grew us. Don't just turn your back on us and say, boy, you only got $10,000 to give me for no race, so I ain't coming. The $10,000 may be the whole amount for that one event, not for just one individual. If you understand where I'm going. So I am pleading, and it's a business. I understand it's a business, but at the end of the day, the foundation was laid through the area association, whether it was the age group championship, the Carifta Games, right, that caused you to be able to continue your career pathway to be what you are or what you have become or what you potentially will become. So don't leave us in the lurch.
Rudian, are you satisfied with the increase, the investments? Because I know you always you sort of concerned about the level of investment in terms of track and field, in particular in the region. I mean, not so much of NACAC, but in terms of the corporate Caribbean, their support for track and field in the Caribbean.
No, most definitely, and there's something good. I'm just listening to you about it. It so certainly is make me feel good. There's something that I was concerned about, and you're solely right. We do have athletes who do not want to compete because the money is not right. The money is not enough, but sometimes they forget where they actually started from. So definitely, I like the approach you guys are taking on that, and I'm most definitely, I agree with that. And in the future, it will get there. As you can see, there is more islands or more countries is getting medals. You're going to find more stakeholders going to want to invest in them and invest in the sport. So it's coming. You may not see it yet, but it will come. Where when you have those area meets, there will be more prize money for the athletes. But it may not be now, but it's coming. It's coming.
And we'll keep knocking on the door, right? I mean, Mike, it's tantamount to me. Whether it's Sheepshead Bay, well, they got rid of my school anyway, but whether it's a Sheepshead Bay that's having a reunion, or Penn State, as example, that's having a track meet, and they need to help it grow, it's tantamount to me saying, well, y'all can't afford me, so I can't come. Yeah. I mean, how do you do that? It's okay. Well, if you give me my room and board or whatever, I'll be there, and I'll be proud to be there to be able to help the institution that helped me to become what I am or what I'm trying to become. I mean, for me, it's as simple as that.
And then some athletes just want another meet. Yeah. So you give them room on board. They just want another good quality meet to be at. Yeah. So certainly that also could be a way to go about it.
Yeah. What's about you spoke about the rolling out of the safeguarding task force, right, Mike?
Yeah, safeguarding. I've said to my team, safeguarding is everyone's business. All right.
Yeah.
It's not just about abuse on ads, and sometimes we have this misnomer to think that maybe it's just the male coaches doing stuff to the female athletes, whatever. Right. It's a holistic approach. Whether male, female administrators, safeguarding, and so World Athletics is putting a focus on that. We are putting a focus on that. Every member federation through World Athletics has been mandated to have a safeguarding policy in place. Mm-hmm. And our task force, which is spearheaded by Catherine Jordan, a former president of Barbados and also a former vice president of NACAC, she chairs that task force, and that committee has been meeting. What we have done in our last meeting just prior to Carifta, as a matter of fact, I had the meeting in the airport here on Zoom on the way to Monaco with that grouping. We have assigned, out of the safeguarding task force grouping, we have assigned each member to a federation to coordinate with that federation, to continue to communicate with that federation, to provide the assistance and support that federation would need to be able to ensure that their safeguarding officers are in place. We are having preliminary discussions that we're going to have a workshop during the Carifta Games where we are asking all member federations to ensure that they have a safeguarding officer. So by the time Mr. Carifta is come around, there should be, all member federations should have their safeguarding officer in place, even if it's not the complete policy, but the framework for the policy. World Athletics has been invited to join us at Carifta, the person responsible for safeguarding from the global perspective, to present that workshop to our members. So in Trinidad, you will see you'll be invited to obviously join in, just if you would wish to have a little interview, whatever. But we will have that workshop because safeguarding is everybody's business, and we want to sensitize the member federations that we must take it serious, so that when situations arise, it is dealt with in a professional and an expeditious manner.
Mm-hmm. And not forgetting coaching education, very important for NACAC as well.
Of course, that is all. Again, all and we have those going on. And like I said, you don't hear about it. And now, matter of fact, it's now where Athletics has put it on the e-learning platform. A lot of stuff. There's so much, Mike. You had identified it. There's so much that is happening, right? And I'm very, very pleased to be a part of it, because there's never a dull moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, indoors and outdoors in Asia, it could be a bit challenging for member federations to participate, but I'm certain, Mike, you're looking forward to NACAC's presence and NACAC's performance in indoors and outdoors in Asia.
That's always an exciting time. The indoor championship. It gives you an opportunity to it's up close and personal. It's a little different from outdoors, and it's all of them have the uniqueness, because you're so close to everybody. You have an opportunity to move around and to talk to the athletes, talk to the coaches, and then just share with them experiences, and just to see how things are going and to get ideas from them. But yeah, we're looking very, very much forward to the indoor championship as well as the outdoor championship. So that, like I said, this year is going to create an exciting year for us. The only stress I have, Mike, I'll be honest with you, the only stress I have and concern is funding. And if we can get funding, and so that's why we're attempting to find independent source of funding, because right now, as we speak, okay, as I indicated to you, and I need to go back for a second, right? We're still seeking a host for the area championship, and that is my biggest headache right now. And hoping that our member federations, and there's a cost associated, we understand that, right? But funding is the major task, and once we can secure that type of funding, you will see NACAC area move to higher heights.
Rudian?
I just want to add, going back to the Character Games, what athletics now is looking to expand in terms of events. Is NACAC looking to do the same for the Character Games in terms of the mixed 4x1 and the mixed 4x4?
There's no question about it. I mean, World Athletics is the governing body. Matter of fact, and I have the pleasure of being able, or the good fortune too, in my capacity as the area president, to sit at the table and have these discussions and be a part of the decision making, the collective decision making when it comes to rules and regulations and implementation. And so yes, and I don't recall at the moment. I think if it's already on our calendar, but certainly and it'll be there. You see, and I, for one, I'm a strong proponent for mixed relays for simple reason. Simple reason. The small countries are not gonna have 4 athletes in one specific discipline that could reach to that. Right? I remember, Mike, and I think I don't know when it was 201 or whatever it was in Barbados, wherever it was, Crafter Games, and at the Congress, I actually moved the motion to include the under 17 girls 4x400 meters. There was a pushback. If you check the records, you do a little research, you'll see it was not there before. And the challenge was, that countries were saying, well, we don't have 4 young ladies. We said, well, listen, we have to grow the sport. Let's put it in, and you build it, they will come. Well, at the end of the day, if you don't have 4 athletes in one discipline, the 4x1 mix and the 4x4 mix is an ideal situation. Now, in the case of the 4x1, okay, the discussion has centered around how do you mix speed with speed, right? In other words, to avoid any injuries, you want to, you understand what I'm saying? So what we did in the first instance with the 4x4, initially, you would recall, you can strategize how you want to set your team up. But now it's standard how you set the team up, and I think that it's coming to that as well. It's standard how you will set the 4x1s up to make it, palatable, balanced. Because there was also, and I just add this, right? the four by four. There was a time when you can realize, for example, the female may have a 80-meter lead or thereabouts, and of course she was run down by her male pursuer. But at the end of the day, I think that looked too good on from the perspective of the gender situation. So that kind of has something to do with say, listen, let's change this, and we're okay with that.
All right. Good day to you. Well, it's afternoon in your, where you are. Roger Duncan, Happy New Year to you as well. I pray God's continued blessings upon everyone this year and beyond. Mike, while we're sticking on the curve again, because it's the development program for track and field, especially in the NACAC region. And for some, they see it, I mean, it's a global event now, as we should say. Carved up become a global event. Are you satisfied, Mike, that we are seeing that the dominance of Jamaica, especially in track and field, seem to be coming to an end? And I say dominance in the context of where Jamaica used to probably win almost every single event, or probably a first, second, and third in most events. We've seen other member nations coming into the fore. We've seen better performances from some of the others. Do you think that's a good sign? And despite the challenges being faced by Jamaica in terms of their dominance in the curved games, that is going in the right direction for the development of track and field in the NACAC region?
Mike, the answer to the question is yes. I'll tell you why, right? It goes back to my opening, right? Is that at the end of the day, it is a testament to the coaches that we have. It's always good to have a benchmark. Jamaica is always the benchmark. There's no question about that, right? So there's no debating that, right? And so if you can focus your program on how do we now improve our performances based on the benchmark of matching strides with Jamaica, then it's a good thing, because then you really have something to aspire towards. And as you can see, as you rightfully said and observed, the gap for that is closing. And so it's a testament to the coaches that hone the skills of these young people to cause them to now be able to perform on the equal footing in some instances, and then maybe just a little below Jamaica. But Jamaica is the benchmark. And I'm happy to see that the gap is closing. At the end of the day, it's good for our sport. And I don't think anybody should take offense to the fact that the other athletes are now from other small island nations now coming to the forefront and making their presence felt. That's a good thing for the sport.
Yeah, and we are seeing more and more athletes coming from North America to participate for their home country. Some of them are second and third generation. Coming to represent, whether it's Jamaica or St. Vincent, Grenada, St. Lucia. It seems as if there's more interest, right, in terms of their participation in the curved games. Do you think this is also good for NACAC and for the curved games?
I think it is, because at the end of the day, it's all about national pride. Number one, it's all about representing one's country. And I don't know of any athlete in our area, I don't know any Caribbean athlete that is a member of the Carifta family, okay, that does not aspire to make his country's Carifta team. And so at the end of the day, it needs to be encouraged, I will tell you. And because in some instances, it may be the only national team that an athlete makes, but then he can tell his grandchildren, later on, boy, I was on our Carifta team back in, yada, yada, yada. And so I implore the coaches, the parents, and what have you not, to continue that trend, right? Now, we know that there's school obligations, right? But it also suggests something to me, which I've known for a long time, which is a total topic for our discussion. All of our athletes in our area, for the most part, all right, are still Carifta eligible in their freshman year in college for the first year. So that alone should tell you the fact that they've gone to the university, been able to get a scholarship or whatever opportunities they have, right? And they're eligible for that first year, which is, I think, the under 20, which is also one of the more difficult periods in that first year, right? I think more federations need to take a look seriously at how do you maximize the athletes that are out there that can make a contribution to your performance during the Crafter Games, because that is your basic foundation to the next level for the junior athletes. So I'm in full support of that.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, and I totally agree with that too, Mike. I coach two athletes out here who's also looking to make the Trinidad national team. So there's also that passion even out here in Canada for kids who was born here, but their parents is from Trinidad, who really wants to be a part of that character team, and they are so pushing. They want to represent their country, basically they want to represent where the parents is from, and not Canada. And that I get that a lot happening, especially here in Toronto. So certainly it's a push. I have a question. It's one I'm always for, and I always really want to see it happen. As a NACAC, as the president of a NACAC, is there talks to have a major sponsor for the character games, like a Nike, a Puma, Adidas? Have there ever been talks for that? Is it that the direction you like to go? Explain.
We don't have one now, and it's not for the lack of trying. Okay, so to answer your question, is a resounding yes. Matter of fact, and I hate to keep referring to things, but it's happened in the past. For example, several years ago here in the Bahamas, we were able to identify corporate citizens. As a matter of fact, just the last Crafter Games, we had a medical entity, and several years before that, we had a construction guy who has since passed, who was a great benefactor. So the answer to your question is yes. I mean, it is not for a lack of trying to find a title sponsor, and obviously that's where, when you heard me said earlier about the reimaging of the branding and the investment in the marketing, because obviously the potential sponsor, has to have something to look forward to on his investment. And so at the end of the day, we are open to collaborating and sitting down with them to determine what is the best approach for them to receive value for their investment. And while it is the LOC's responsibility, our approach has also been that to have a more hands-on involvement with the Crafter Games, not in a negative way or a domineering way, because what we've done in the past is that we have given the event to a member federation, and then we allowed them to run with it and not provide the type of hands-on support that is really required. And I think it's very unfair for us to do that. And so we have taken a different approach to say, hey, we are still the owners of the event. So we're not going to just totally relinquish it to you. We're going to stand with you to work with you. And again, this conversation was just had a couple of days ago with our marketing persons as to the best approach that we can move with that. And so I cannot say a couple of things right now at this point, because I do have to have a discussion with the LOC on a couple of things that have been discussed. But I'm hopefully you'll hear from that in very, very short order.
Mm-hmm. And I say that, Mr. Sams, and if you give me the opportunity, I will send you a little of the blueprint of what we do here for our high school championship. We're fully sponsored by Nike, and it's been this way for the past 30 years, and it's a contract that we have locked in with them. And there's some days you get more and you get less, but it's always the same full sponsor from Nike. And certainly, and I say that because the quality and the level of our high school championship here in Ontario is not anywhere close to what the character has. So I'm looking at that. So I definitely, when I see, we getting this and how it plays out for us here in Toronto with Nike, because we have, and there's other companies that is waiting for Nike to say no, they don't want to do it anymore. We really have discussions with Under Armour, discussion with Puma. They're ready. the minute Nike said no, they are on board, because it is a big, championship games, that we have here with the whole of Ontario, high school games. So certainly I always ask the question is, how and why that, big games like the Character Games cannot get that major sponsor, So certainly, like I said, I will definitely get the email from Bascom, and I will send you like a little blueprint of what we have and how we approach. Hopefully that can help you guys as well.
Yeah.
That'd be very, very helpful, because I will definitely want to address it, because like I said, we have spoken to several of them, and maybe the picture's not right. I don't know. And so, I'm always open to revisiting anything that is going to enhance our position.
Okay.
Most definitely.
I know we normally discuss that at the Congress at the Character Games. Barbados withdrew from, expressed an interest in hosting the 2026 Character Games, which is next year. But Guyana expressed an interest. Are we still on full with Guyana for 2026?
Yeah, there's been no indication of any change to that position. Guyana expressed an interest. They were awarded the event for 2026, and so there's been no changes in that. And so we're looking forward to Guyana hosting.
And are you disappointed that Barbados is still not on? I mean, Barbados has been a major participant in hosting of Character Games in early stages. In fact, the Character Games started in Barbados.
There's always a level of disappointment when any member federation wishes to do something, and for whatever reason they aren't able to do it. I mean, we were supposed to have the area championship, for example, in El Salvador last year, and at the last minute, and this is what is very painful for us, for whatever reason, at the last minute they were unable to do it, and so at the end of the day, we did not have an area championship last year. This is why I said to you earlier, I'm having sleepless nights, because there are member federations that are willing to do it. They can't do it. There needs to be the support of not necessarily the government, because the government really is supposed to be, any sponsor is supposed to be a guarantor to pick up the shortfall. It's not ever expected that money is good if a sponsor comes on board and says, okay, this is costing $1 million. Here's a check for $1 million. We will sponsor the event. And this is why I'm saying that is not necessarily the approach that we want. And I think we have to have these discussions with our member federations a little bit more, rather than go into the government's cap in hand and say these events are going to cost X, Y, Z, and we need you to play the total X, Y, Z. We have to have a different approach. And that's why I talked about the marketing approach. But at the end of the day, all right, the events are very critical to our continued success. And so we have to find ways. That's why I said to you earlier again, right? My sleepless nights has to do with funding and sponsorship on behalf of our programs, such as the Character Games and all the other things that we want to have. And maybe I see it in very simplistic terms, right? And that is investing on our young people through sports. Nelson Mandela speaks about the power of sports. And if we look at what Nelson Mandela says, the power of sports do many things, including uniting the people and speaking a language to our young people. And in this day and age, what we're going through throughout the area, throughout the world, but particularly in our area, right? The violence, we can't hide from that. But I believe that sports can be a small panacea for how we redirect some of this energy that our young people have, and sports could give them a purpose to a better life. Maybe I see things simply, but I would like to see a little bit more focus on the general aspect of sports and how do we galvanize the energy that is out there amongst our young people.
Okay. Good afternoon, Richard Cherubin. Good day to you as well, and probably someone who may be able to provide some answers to your concerns. Is a former sports minister, Mr. Patrick Simmons. He's now the chair of the National Sports Council in Grenada. So we probably may have to speak to Mr. Patrick Simmons. He says, think we need to look for at least one sponsor from each participating island, which can represent the whole. But Mr. Simmons, you probably may want to take on the task for Mike and assist him in getting a host for the area championships. I don't know if you're in a position. Probably if you have $1 million, no, we just use it. It's not $1 million. We just saying probably $1 million.
Let me.
Well, Mr. Simmons probably do have that $1 million, that he can put forward.
I gotta end on this. Since I got the airways and I'm happy you welcome Mr. Simmons, right? I must tell you that I have been talking to every one of our member federations for these area championships that is scheduled for June the 21st, and Grenada is one of them. As a matter of fact, I said to my colleagues out of Grenada, I said, listen, you guys are best suited to hold these area championship because you just came out of Carifta, so your LOC, et cetera, right, can be intact. Mike, you and I have this conversation, and I'm saying that to say, Mr. Simmons, let's have a discussion off air, please, because at the end of the day, I cannot leave any stone unturned, and so I'd be more than happy to have discussions and formulate an approach to any member federation through its government or otherwise. How do we make this happen? Because we have to make this happen on June the 21st. So, Mr. Simmons, you're hearing me. Please, Michael, give you my contact, and let's have a discussion.
Certainly, yes, that will happen. But we need to find a home for at least for 2025
yes,
for the area champ, because it's very important, And when you look at the area championships, I mean, NACAC, look at NACAC's performance, Mike. All right, and then it's like asking, it's like the European Championships, right? It's like the European Championship.
Yeah, but
you're looking for a home. You're looking for a host for the European Championship or the African Championship.
Yeah. And we have, and don't forget now, when we talk about NACAC Area Championship, we're talking about Canada, United States. We're talking about the 38 member federations of NACAC, all of them converging somewhere.
Yeah.
And bearing in mind, by the way, what is happening now is that the World Championship has now been moved to September. So it will culminate with the season. So it would no longer be the Diamond Leagues following, So now, and trust me, our athletes would prefer to stay closer to home if they can get good competition and a reasonable payday. And so imagine being able to see a Julian Alfred or LaFond or, competing in their own area, in their own backyard.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm missing it.
Yeah, and it's also, and the championship is also used as a qualifier as well.
It's a qualifying event. It's qualifying meet.
Yeah.
What we'd like to get World Athletics to do is to say, okay, the area champion automatically qualifies for the World Championship, but we're not there yet. But, those are the kind of things we want to do to make the championship an attractive. You win your championship, you get a bye. The same way how a world champion gets an automatic bye to the World Championship 2 years later. To me, that's kind of crazy, because 2 years from now, what kind of shape you in to automatically qualify. But we're working. Everything is a work in progress.
Get it, Mike. As we get ready to wrap up, some final thoughts from you, Mike.
I think I said it in my last dispensation when I said that I want the powers that be and everybody else to look at our sport, look at sports in the eyes of Nelson Mandela and what it can do to enhance all of our communities, all of our societies, and while I'm partial to athletics, I am talking about I'm a citizen of the universe. I'm a citizen of the Caribbean. We live here. We all live here. And so we have to be concerned the direction that we are headed, and we have to find a way to make a difference in whatever resources we have available for us to do that. But it can really take partnerships to make it happen. And together we can make it happen. I believe that. And I will not give up on my dream. And I ask others to join me in the pursuit of these goals.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike Sands. Always a pleasure having you.
Happy New Year again.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure. And again, thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts with you on behalf of my council and the NACAC at large.
Always appreciate. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah. Mr. Mike Sands, president of NACAC, speaking to us live from the Bahamas. And always a pleasure having Mr. Sands giving us his insights into track and field and sports in general. Again, Rudian, the part that's really sticking with us is his vision to transform not just NACAC, but the sport in the region.
Sport itself,
and he made the point, and after we finish there, I'm going back to deal with that again, because he made the point about the involvement of CARICOM the Caribbean nations, because that's to
We talk
me,
about that already.
yeah, it's
We
very,
had a
very
discussion about
important.
it. It's very important.
And I'm hoping that the performances of our islands, the island nations, even at the Paris game, will probably,
In
reignite
sense, yeah,
some of that, because it
definitely.
was
But I think,
since
but
2023, Mike has been making that point. October of
yeah,
2023, as a matter of fact.
yeah. But one
October.
of the major problem, Michael, is that even getting away from sports is that we don't have that inter-Caribbean businesses that they used to have maybe in the 80s, right?
Mm.
So that could also be a challenge at
No,
the same time.
but
Yeah,
his point too is that let's have the conversation.
yeah.
So we might just be saying this and that and the other, but if we're not speaking,
If
we
you're
will
not
not
speaking,
know.
nothing is
Right, we will not
yeah,
know. So
yeah.
let's have the conversation. Let's start talking, and that is the point he has been trying to make. Let us come together. Let us start talking. They have been talking about cricket, for example. They came
Yeah.
out with a blueprint and about this and all sorts of studies and this, that, and the other. Let's talk about not just track and field, but let's talk about sports in general.
Sports in
So it will
general,
be cricket,
yeah.
it will be football, it will be track and field.
Netball, it could be everything.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's
bring
talk
everyone
about sports.
together.
Yeah.
And certainly, once the National Sports Council, everything is in place. It's a conversation we had already. I had it with Mr. Cloughton. I had it with Mr. Simmons. It's something that they're looking at in terms of taking up Mr. Sands' concerns and his suggestions, and put something in place where they can bring people together to talk about it. It may be a project of the National Sports Council of Grenada, okay, but it's something that they see it's very important. And I'll be ensuring that Mr. Sands continue the discussion with Mr. Simmons, who probably can speak to the minister and then get it to the next level. I think it's very important, because we are seeing that there is need for us to talk, but we're not doing anything about it, right? And by the way, Rudian, look at what came out at the end of the year in terms of statistics with sort of crime and all these sort of things. Mike's point was also we can use sports as a vehicle, right? Because by the way, a lot of the instances of crimes and violence and all these sort of things had to do with young men in particular. Let us find ways of engaging them, and we can do that through sports, right? That is part of the conversation we want to have. That is why he said it's important that CARICOM takes it up.
Get involved.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things we can discuss about it in terms of the challenges with the air transportation and all of that, but also there are solutions there, and things like that. So
because we talk about this sports build a nation, sports build nations. Certainly, Hazelin, certainly that we've seen it, and we've seen countries have done it. You see it in France, you see it in England, you see it in Spain. You see they use football build their nation. See it in Jamaica, sports build a nation. Not only track and field, the football, the netball, the sport, build. They have a hockey team. They have people doing bobsled. They have, a majority of sports that build their country. So it's not then you attach it with the other things, with the reggae and the other things, right? And you when you put everything together, So I think that is something that is key.
Because I remember once I told him, I said, listen, when we look at the Bahamas, we look at Bermuda and probably Cayman Islands to an extent. Let's just use them as examples, right? And the sort of how they blend sports and tourism, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, the Bahamas will have their pro golf tournament. They have their basketball NBA teams that will go and play, do their camps,
even college,
right?
college.
I was about to say the colleges, they have their bowl, the Bahamas Bowl, for example.
Yeah, and they go play basketball down there too.
Right.
Yeah.
Bermuda, for example, even our prime minister attended when he came from somewhere in Africa. He went to Bermuda. He was on his way to the Caribbean. And on the invitation of the Premier of Bermuda, a pro golf tournament in Bermuda, right? With top golfers and things like that. So they're seeing how these islands are meshing
Yeah,
sports
yeah.
and tourism.
Sports and
So
tourism.
why
Yeah.
not come together and let's start talking? How you do? What are your best practices? How I can,
Practices. Yeah,
what it is
yeah.
you're doing that I can do.
Then
What it is
I can
you're
intertwine
doing.
it. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, because we all island nations, we all have this tourism product and things like that. So those who you're up in the north, there might be some who may be willing to explore the south, for
The
example.
sound.
We have
Yeah.
the same sort of climatic conditions, all of this sort of thing. So start talking, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
important thing. Mike, we working on that for 2025, and I'm showing you. No, I'm serious. Even if we have to talk about it every Saturday, you understand? Even if we have to talk about it every Saturday, we'll be speaking about it, Rudian. But certainly, I think that is something that is very important for the development of sports. And he has made the point over and over again. It's not just track and field; it's about sports, because what we will be doing, we'll be bringing all the those who will be coming to talk about, the various challenges they have and things like that. Because the same challenge that track and field has, or some of the challenges that they have, I'm certain that the other sporting disciplines have that as well. Because one has to do with transportation, two, accommodation, and then there are other
And then
things.
go. Yeah. Yeah.
Because look how they have to use the same challenges that track and field have
Challenges.
for
Traffic and
character.
out.
They have it for swimming, etc.,
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
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 So probably what we can do every time we get one of those administrators on, we probably
Put it out there.
put it out there to them that, hey, you need to start talking. So if everyone start talking like Mike, because he seems to be the Lone Ranger that's speaking about it. If we can
Yeah.
get others to come on the same page. But mind you, there are others who have told me privately, because they have heard it, because
Yeah.
I'll take it out, I'll send it around, and they say, no, that's it. I say, but then you have to start talking about it. You can't just agree with what Mike
Just I agree with it. I'm just not talk
you
about
have
it.
to
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
talking about it, right? Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to start talking about it, Good day to you, Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson, I think you should be the next sports minister. No, Mike, I'll continue to be the next sportscaster. I'll stay with that. Not politics, boy. I stay far from that one. Far from that one. But yeah, certainly. Rudian, so we're looking forward. I know it's our first program for 2025, but certainly we start with a bang, having Mike that I think and when Mike comes on, is not the end. He started.
Yeah. No, it started. Yeah. Yeah.
He'll come just before Carifta again, because he has to give us a
You
little
have to
update
come on a little
on
update.
Carifta games. Then
Yeah.
we'll get those from Trinidad to give us a little thing, and what's in terms of the preparation, the LOC, in terms of that. Then he comes after that, and then he has to come to wrap it up at the end of the year,
Yeah.
But certainly we'll be speaking quite a bit about that. Anything on your mind that you're hoping that we can get completed this year too, Rudian?
I mean, you just kind of go with how the flow is. Because like I said, everything is happening. I really did ask Mike the question. I know they had no talks with the concerning the fire in California, right?
Oh yeah,
Because
well,
it's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
And I know
but
it's 4 years. I know it's
kinda,
3 years away, but it's an effect. A lot of this place is not going to be built back up in the next
well,
2 years, right?
it's sort of preliminary at this stage, because
Yeah.
remember,
Yeah.
there's still fire burning,
There's still
right?
fire burning.
And
Yeah.
so
So yeah,
after, at some point, they will have to give an assessment and
an
say what it is.
assessment
But
and say what it is. Yeah.
I don't think at this stage, we'll really be affected.
Worried
Maybe a
about anything.
concern. Yeah, it may be a
Yeah.
concern, but I think we should be okay, right?
Yeah.
It should be okay.
One of the things I am also looking to, I notice a lot of the top athletes now is competing indoors. So we're going to see a lot of those athletes that competing indoors. Because like I said, everything becoming a financial, to them, it's money. So you're going to find a lot of these athletes, and them, for what I'm hearing, a lot of athletes is going to look into compete indoors, and they get invited to a lot of these meets. So look out for the World Championships. I think it's going to be, a little bit more intense than we have seen in the past. They have some top guns. There'll be some top guns competing, this year compared to the past. So looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to see what they do with the mixed 4x1. I'm really interested in that. I certainly are interested to see that. It's always good to expand, and the next thing you're going to hear, they're going to add is a mix a mix 4x2 or a 4x2.
Well,
Just add a
anything
4x2, right?
that could give the interest in it. Yes.
Yeah. Edwin, thank you for talking about my Ohio State. Certainly, I was very pleased, with my boys. It's a one school in football. I went to University of Memphis, but when it comes to football, Ohio State has always been my team. For some reason, I just always love that school, the way they play, the coaching staff, always, always, always. So I'm quite happy to see them going back to the national championships, and it's not going to be easy. Most people believe that it's going to be a walk over Notre Dame. I don't know if it will be, but it will be an interesting game. It will be, and I think more people will be focusing on that more than the inauguration. Get the same day. So I kind of see the day. It's on the same day. Same day. So, all right, people going to be in Washington. Most people will be in Atlanta. So yeah, but certainly that was good, Edwin. That was certainly good to see.
Yes, the national championships coming up.
Yeah,
Certainly,
yeah.
it's on. It's in the evening of inauguration. It's actually scheduled for 7:30 on Monday,
Monday.
January the 20th, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that will be very interesting.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. And definitely, like I said, Michael, there is so much going on.
Well, and remember, Ohio has a 6-2 record over Notre Dame, so they're going in as obviously.
They're going now. Definitely the favorite, big time. We see Lyndon Victor sign a new contract with thing. That was really good to see that. And like I said, a lot of good things is happening for the athletes out there. Certainly. Yeah. It's going to be a good year. It's going to be a wonderful year.
So Edwin, the Buckeyes going up again the fight
Buckeyes again, Irish. And it's funny because they did a clip in the end where they when Notre Dame won, when they put up Rudy. When the movie Rudy, right? And I think they were playing Penn State in that game, in that last game. Right? I think it was Penn State they were playing. So certainly it's that was a really good. It's a good series. It's new. Seeing it for the first time, how they how they put it in, and that was quite interesting. Really, really interesting to see that. That new, so the number 1, the number 2, the number 3, the number 4, and the number 5, the number 6 is not even there. So suddenly,
he's saying that his son's alma mater, which is Ohio State. Just that she thought it was always LSU for you, Rudy.
No. Always Ohio State. Always Ohio State. Yeah. Always.
Hazel just looking for someone to.
I know she's looking for support. She's looking for LSU. I get it.
Yes. And certainly, we have Penn Relays coming up this year as well. So this will be also important.
Yes, definitely. We're definitely going to have something.
The Lyndon Victor Foundation.
Yes. That's what I want to mention. The foundation, which is really good. I said some good things are coming out, and we've seen a lot of this social with Lyndon and those guys giving back. Certainly, and it's so good to see, and he's such a wonderful gentleman. He is humble. And to have a foundation, after his name, that's certainly a good thing. And it's so good to see it while he's alive, So definitely that is so good to see. So continue, Lyndon, continue the good thing that you're doing, and all the best for this year. But certainly it will be a good year, I believe, in sports in general. It will be a good year. We still don't know who Super Bowl will be, but that will be another one. That will be interesting. I have my favorites. Even though my team is out, my second team is still there, which is Baltimore. So, let's see what happens. But
and just to let you know, our next program will be coming to you from on the road. I'll be on the road in the next few days. So our program next week will be on the road, hopefully.
I might also be on the road too. It's my birthday weekend. My birthday is on Friday,
Oh,
so I'm going out of town, but I
wow.
definitely will be on.
Yeah.
The plan is to go out of town. I haven't booked anything yet. Don't know where I'm going, but I always go somewhere. So definitely, if
Yeah.
I'll be somewhere, but if not, I'll be home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
next few days I'm heading off to deployment, so I'll be on the road for the next few weeks. So our program will be
Okay.
on the
On the
road,
road.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay
yeah.
then. Thank you very much, Rudian. All the best.
It's always a pleasure, and to
Yeah.
the listeners, a pleasure, and hope to see you next week. And
Yeah.
God bless.
Okay. You take care. So,
Thanks.
folks, that was a sort of extended for us because, as you know, it's our first program, and we hoping to get as much as possible in. And no doubt, looking forward to your company next weekend, God's willing. Yes, certainly looking forward to that. Um, what can I say? Yeah. So thank you very much to Mr. Mike Sands, our guest, special guest of the program, our co-host Rudy and Sylvan, and all those who made it possible. I always have a pleasure of having you on the program and looking forward to your company next weekend, God's willing. Same time, 11 a.m. Eastern time, 12 noon, Eastern Caribbean time. Until then, do have yourself a pleasant weekend.